This video lecture is about audience profiles. By the end of this video, you will be able to answer the following questions. What is an audience profile? Why do you need an audience profile? And how do you create an audience profile? It's important to know who your audience is. Building an audience profile allows you to guess at who your audience really is. Remember, you don't always know your audience. Yes, in class, your audience is literally your instructor and classmates, but in real life, that's not always true. You don't always know the people who you will be writing to. So the audience profile allows you to identify the characteristics of your audience. This is important because knowing the audience and the audience's characteristics allows you to change your language, vocabulary, and tone to meet the needs of that specific audience. An audience profile is a summary of the audience's characteristics. You create the audience profile before you begin writing. And there are 4 key parts to the audience profile. Before you can begin tailoring your writer to your audience, you need to know exactly who you're talking to, and that's where the audience profile comes into play. The first key part of the audience profile is audience demographics. This is the first thing you should consider to help you figure out who your audience is. Demographics are specific characteristics about a group of people. Demographics include age, religion, gender, economic status, education level, things like that. All of these things influence the way that people view certain topics and the way that they would view what you have to say about these topics. Identifying the demographics of your audience helps you determine how similar or different you and your audience are. This lets you know how honest or blunt you can be, or if you will need to be persuasive in your writing. The second component to the audience profile is the audience's knowledge base about your topic. Consider your topic and your audience demographics and try to determine how much your audience already knows about your topic. This tells you how much background information you need to include. For example, if you're writing about the need for better bus transportation and you guess that your audience is a group of wealthy people with their own cars, they probably never ride the bus, and then they won't understand the need for better bus transportation. With this audience, you would need to provide a lot of background information and be very persuasive to show them why bus transportation needs to be improved. However, if your audience is a group of people who live in your neighborhood where you don't see a lot of cars parked in front of houses or garages, then you can guess that your audience knows a lot more about your topic because they probably ride the bus. So you wouldn't have to provide as much background information, and you could be less persuasive because you can assume that your audience will agree with you. The third part of the audience profile is what the audience expects. What is your audience going to expect when they read your writing? Will they expect you to share their opinion, or that you will have a different opinion? Will they expect that you're teaching them something new, or will they expect a summary of something they already know? When you can guess at what your audience is going to expect, then you can change your wording to fulfill those expectations. For example, let's revisit this idea about writing about the need for better bus transportation. Pretend that you're writing a letter to the editor of your local newspaper and you are explaining why there needs to be better busing in the city. You start off very strongly by saying that you have a foolproof plan to make these improvements. This will make your audience have some pretty high expectations of you. They will expect you to fix the busing problem. This is like jumping from a small fishbowl to a larger one. It's difficult. So you have to make sure that your language and the content of your writing can fulfill the expectation that you are setting. There are 2 specific things you need to consider when you're thinking about your audience expectations. The first thing is considering how your audience will react to what they expect. Where might you need to be sensitive in managing their expectations? If you think your reader is going to disagree with you, then your reader's expectation might be that everyone else agrees with them and not with you. So you have to be very careful with your wording to avoid offending your reader. You also need to consider how you can promise the expectation that you set in the beginning of your writing. If you say you are going to do something at the beginning of your writing, then you need to follow through with it throughout the rest of your written document. The last part of the audience profile is purpose. This includes your purpose in writing, what you are trying to accomplish, and how you're going to get your purpose across to your reader. You also need to consider what you want the reader to do with the information that you're giving them. The 4 parts of the audience profile are demographics, knowledge, expectations, and purpose. After you've considered all of these, then you are ready to begin writing because you have a clear idea as to how you need to word your writing and what language and tone you need to use to be effective. This will allow you to craft a clear, targeted message that hits home with your audience and allows them to understand and accept your ideas.